Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene Edwards. This is my good buddy Sam Jackson, and you are watching NHL Aftermath. This is episode 5 for June the 24th, 2023. I emphasize 24th because this is take 2 and we botched it again. Right, Sammy? I think what we're going
It's
to do
June
is
24th. You got it.
I think going forward, Sammy, we're going to do a checklist. I'm going to just read out all the titles and you can correct me at that point in time before we go on because this is happening too often. Um, Unfortunately, guys, there's about 10, 15 titles and you miss one title and it kind of makes the episode look really lousy. So we're going to do a checklist going forward. How you been, Sammy? What is up with you?
Just dying without any hockey to watch.
Isn't it? Isn't like, yeah, I noticed I'm like, I don't feel good. I don't feel right. I actually watched the Avatar movie. First movie I've watched in about 3 years. The other day, I was like, I'm gonna go to Walmart and buy the Avatar movie. It's yeah. Like, well, okay, no, I wouldn't say that. It's probably the first movie I watched since I busted my leg. And
Which is a while ago.
a while ago, yeah. I'm not even kidding. Like, I haven't even seen the new Top Gun yet. I just been so enthralled with doing my channel Lubed, and then obviously now we're doing this channel. But I can't even talk about the Oilers. I mean, I could follow suit like with all the other guys out there doing all the rumor mills, and but I just after last year and the whole deal with Patrick Kane and how he was going to be an Oiler last year and all this stuff, and now this year they're talking about Konepke, and it's like it's exhausting to just I'm not a rumor guy, and the sad thing is that's what gets you YouTube attention. People love their rumors. When I do rumor videos, I seem to get the best hits, but I can't go down that route. I have to keep real to myself, I guess, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
So anyway, speaking about keeping real, lots to talk about. We're gonna have a very candid discussion today regarding the NHL's decision to kibosh caused jersey wearing, pregame jersey wearing for various causes, whether it be military or supporting LGBTQ communities. So we're going to have a pretty detailed discussion on that. And we are also going to talk about the Hockey Hall of Fame and the recent inductees that have come into that. I think that's going to cover a good half hour, so I didn't add a third story onto this one. I think we got a lot to talk about with that, and we might as well just dive right in. Let's get into the Hockey Hall of Fame first of all, Sammy, as
Yeah.
Caroline Odette, Henrik Lundqvist, Tom Barrasso, Mike Vernon, Pierre Turgeon, Ken Hitchcock, and the late Pierre Lacroix have been inducted in the 2023 class of the Hockey Hall of Fame. Very goaltender orientated, including Ken Hitchcock. I guess in his playing days he was a goaltender too. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's an elite group of people being inducted this year. Um, Mike Vernon. Some people have mixed opinions on him whether or not he was actually that good of a goalie or not. But regardless, he won 2 Stanley Cups. As a starting goaltender. Fairly well respected to my knowledge of what I think of. If you ask my brother-in-law, he'll give you a different opinion. He hates Mike Vernon, but that's for a different discussion. Henrik Lundqvist, unfortunately, that man never won a cup, but Henrik Lundqvist was one of my favorite goalies to watch growing up. I absolutely loved Kane Henrik. Absolutely loved watching him play when he was on the Rangers. Tom Barrasso, I never watched him play, so I don't really have much of an opinion on him, to be fair. Caroline Ouellette, very good Canadian women's hockey player. She won, I think it was 4 straight Olympic gold medals, which she's one of only like a couple people in Olympic history to do that, I think. And then Ken Hitchcock, I mean, one of the most winningest goaltenders. Too many goalies. One of the most winningest coaches in NHL history. Was always well-respected coach. Coached Dallas to their cup in '99. And then LaCroix, he was the general manager and president of the Quebec Nordiques when they moved to Colorado. He built a very good team in Quebec that looked like they were going to make a run to win a cup, and of course they did, but they just did so in a different city, unfortunately. But he definitely very deserving. All of them are very deserving candidates, and yeah, it's good to see.
So, okay, so we'll say deserving candidates, but let's name some guys that are still off that list. One of the players that really comes to mind is Keith Tkachuk. I don't quite have his numbers here, but he's one of the few left wings that actually had, I think, the next highest rank in points and stuff like that. I don't know exactly his numbers, but he stands out. Alexander McGillney really, 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 really stands out for how he went about it. I would like to see him in the Hall, 100%.
Yeah, Mogilny is definitely one that everyone thought that this would be the year, but everyone's been thinking it's would have been his year for the last number of years that he should have gotten inducted. Hopefully he does at some point. I don't see why he doesn't. He kind of paved the way for players behind the Iron Curtain to come over to the National Hockey League. So it would be nice to see him come over. He was a fantastic player. He won a Stanley Cup. Like he paved the way for Russian-born or Soviet players to come over. Most Soviet players that you ask throughout the 2000s, 90s, like they had him as someone that they idolized. One of their favorite players.
Now, prior to logging on today, you did kind of mention politics, and you're going to get into that on our next topic. But I do want to ask you this. Do you think politics plays a role in why Alexander McGillney is not in the Hall? Do you think this whole war on Russia could be actually affecting that?
And it's hard to say. I mean, it could, like it very well could, but it's hard to say. Other people, Pavel Datsyuk was another one that could have gone into the Hall this year that people were looking at. Datsyuk should be in the Hall of Fame as well, in my opinion. I think he should be a first ballot guy. 2 Stanley Cups to his name, was an absolutely magician of a player when he played. That man pulled off some moves and some plays that still looking back at just blow me away. I don't know. It could. It could. It could. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have much more than it might, because I'm not a part of the selection committee. The selection committee hasn't said anything to my knowledge
Yeah.
about Russian-born players recently not being inducted or not. I don't know.
So some of the names that are still awaiting: Doug Waite, Jeremy Roenick. Now, Jeremy Roenick, due to some of his recent broadcasting activities that got him fired from NBC, that could potentially stain his chance of getting in there. But again, that's politics, and I think, like you were saying earlier, politics should stay the hell away out of sport. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Yeah, there's a lot of guys I would like to see.
Rod Brindamore.
Pierre Turgeon, I believe, or is he in this one?
Turgeon was put in this year.
Yeah, he was in this one. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rod Brindamore. Um, there's there's a lot of guys that definitely should be with consideration. All right, Sammy. We're gonna move on to a very different subject. As you know, earlier this week, the NHL has decided to pull out caused-based warm-up jerseys uh, going forward in their next season. A lot of this, I think, is due to the fact that some players, which included Ivan Provorov and the Stahl brothers deciding to hold out and not wear the Pride jerseys due to their religious beliefs. Uh, Knowing that you're very strongly orientated in your religion, I need to ask you. I need to ask a guy that is very strongly orientated in his religion. Is it okay? Is it okay to say, you know what, my religion says I don't support the LGBTQ community, and I'm gonna hold back and not wear a jersey because of that. I'm not gonna support it. It's tough. That's a tough question.
I think because you didn't, just because you don't wear the jersey doesn't necessarily mean you don't support people. For myself, if I was a National Hockey League player, I would put that jersey on. I would. There's no harm in putting it on. There isn't. I'd wear it. Yes, I am very, like you said, Charlie, grounded in my religious beliefs, and that probably will never change. Um, while I don't necessarily support the lifestyle of that community, I support them as people. Um, for myself, I support them as people. To me, there's nothing wrong with putting a pride jersey on or putting rainbow tape on your stick. There's nothing wrong with it. Um, they might be, their excuse is that for their, religious or Christian beliefs, they don't want to put those on. Fine. To me, as again, like an avid Christian myself, I don't know. I think that Jesus Christ would be probably very much supportive, and is, if you believe in him, I think you would believe that he is supportive of everyone. He might not support their lifestyle, but he supports them as people, as brothers and sisters in earthly life. There's plenty of biblical stories about him supporting people no matter what they did, supporting them and loving them. So I don't see any harm in doing it. I think the part that is, I think, also more damning for people and that is angering people more is that since the NHL just didn't go, okay, we're getting rid of pride jerseys, now we're not doing any theme jerseys. We're not doing the Indigenous nights. We're not doing Hockey Fights Cancer. We're not doing the Military Appreciation nights, or at least the specialty jerseys. They might still have those themed nights. Like they might still have a Pride night, or they might still have a Hockey Fights Cancer night, or whatever. But they're not going to wear the specialty jerseys and colors. That what okay, fine, I guess don't do that. There's been some, again, I've seen some rumors going around that they'll still make the jerseys, and that they might just do like photo shoots with a select few players from the team, whoever's willing to. They might wear the jersey to, so they can auction them off, or at least put a shoot on social media or whatever, that kind of thing. They just won't wear them on the ice. Whether that's true or not, and that will is what happened. That's rumor that I've heard. I guess we'll see. I don't know. Like I said to you earlier as well, I think just in general, politics just should stay out of sports. Naturally, with any sporting league and association, especially within North America, whether it be the National Hockey League or the National Basketball Association or National Football League or whatever, there are these big media, sporting conglomerates that everyone just flocks to. And so it's hard for them to escape politics. But also, in the same time, people often use sports to escape the politics of the world. I know I use sports, particularly hockey, to escape my life problems. I mean, granted, I then go and watch a Vancouver Canucks game, and there's plenty of problems there that annoy me just as much. But it's nice to throw my anger and my frustrations out on a hockey team, which is something I have no control over, versus the rest of my life. It is an escape, and for myself, when I watch a hockey broadcast or any other sporting broadcast and they're just going on about politics and they're just talking about whatever. I don't like that because I'm trying to use that as a form of escape. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, I just spent an hour scrolling on Facebook and reading social media articles about political situations that upset me, and I want to watch hockey to escape that, and now I'm dealing with it here too. That's
And here's the thing too. There's another way that the NHL could have done this where it didn't turn into this disaster. Okay? Instead of doing uniforms, don't individualize. Don't let the players wear it. Do it as an organization. Have that the lights on in your building with the colors, whatever. Have at the pregame setup. But as soon as you start asking the players, everyone's going to have a different opinion. There's going to be players that are against it, players that are for it. You're asking way too many players. There's what, 1,000+ players in the NHL that are playing.
something like that. Yeah.
You're asking 1,000+ guys to be on board and be on a united front on something which it's hard to do. It's hard to do, and it's actually a very bad look for the NHL the way I see it, because you have a few players opting out for it, and now they are saying, you know what? Let's just backpedal. Let's just get rid of all that whole theme, and that to me is actually a worse look, because it's just showing that they almost are allowing those guys to win, kind of thing. Like I don't know if I'm wording it right, but they're allowing their beliefs to override other people's beliefs. And the best way to do it is have it on the boards, have it on the big jumbotron, all that kind of stuff as an organization, right? But don't expect players to do it. If they choose to do it, that's fine. Say you guys are more than welcome to join in. You can put the tape on your stick, no problem. But we're not going to have an expectation of you to do it. We're going to do it as an organization. And if you don't like it, that's too bad, but we're doing it as an organization. Am I wrong by saying that?
I don't think so necessarily. I mean, I think at the same time though, is if you give players a choice, and if you have, let's say, of the 25 guys that are actively playing on the team, or 20 whatever guys are actively on the ice or playing the game during the day, um, if you have if like half the team isn't wearing the themed jersey, then it might not look as bad. But if you only have 3 or 4 guys on your team who aren't wearing the jerseys, then you're gonna have scandals no matter what, and you're gonna have people coming at the team or coming at those players, trying to throw whatever remarks at them, whether it be misogynistic remarks or saying whatever about who they
You
are.
still there, Sammy? I
Yeah,
may have lost Sammy. Oh, there we go. You're back, Sammy. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. You disappeared from my screen, so
Yeah, it just
um,
said syncing for some reason. Anyway, continue with your thoughts,
weird.
Sammy.
I was just saying, like, it would people um, like just with the other controversies and things that might come up if you only have a few people not participate. Um, people might come at them for being misogynistic or homophobic or prejudice. Whatever. Like there'll be all sorts of controversies and stuff that comes out, and so I don't know. I think the NHL, in a way, by trying to avoid a controversy, because of all these different players that this year decided not to wear these jerseys. I think the NHL, in one way, by trying to avoid controversy, just kind of threw themselves into another controversy. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
So I don't know.
No, I totally see it, and the way I see it is, um, stay on board with it as organizations. Have the NHL has their night where they do the Pride Night, and then every team, they can have it on the jumbotron. They can put it on the boards. Anything that doesn't involve the actual individual player, and the player can
Yeah,
come out. If he wants to put the tape on his stick, they're not going to not to make jerseys or anything like that. And this applies to the military. Maybe they don't support war. This is not just we're not just singling out the LGBTQ community, but I mean, They have military night, and maybe there's a lot of people that don't support that either, right? A lot of people don't support fighting and killing people, even though it is usually for your country and whatnot. But there is still people out there that are strongly against that. And it's like you said earlier, the best thing you want to leave politics out of something that is our escape from the realities of our world. And when you start putting those realities into our sports and into our entertainment and all that, then what do you really have? You know what I mean? You don't have that balance of, you're just constantly being absorbed into the realities of the world. And I like to have my getaway once in a while where, hey, I just want to watch hockey and get mad at the goaltenders for the Oilers where they let in some bad goals or whatever, and go with that and absorb that, because I do use hockey as my outlet to get away from the strenuous aspects of work. Uh, when you're dealing with family, like dealing with my mother who's in assisted living, trying to get all that balanced out, there's a lot involved in life. You know it, I know it, and it's nice. And it's like you said, now it's summertime. We're kind of like twitching. We don't know what to do with no hockey. We're just being absorbed by news and stuff like that. And now this news, which is not very good, but at the same time, it has to be addressed, and that's why we're doing it on the channel today. Yeah, I think bottom line, Sammy, I think you're 100% right. Leave politics out of it. That's the best way to go about it. Um,
Yep.
leave it out. It's not it's not the NHL's reasons behind, like, even all the stuff with what happened with the indigenous people a year ago. That's not like, it's good that they're acknowledging it, but it's not really their responsibility to do it. The responsibility is for the governments to acknowledge it, and and even the religions that were involved in that, and they did. The Pope John, or Pope Francis, came there, and he came there to apologize. Like, I mean, what's done is done. You'll never, ever, ever, ever take away what is done, but you can recognize what was done and try to make yourself better for the future.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that's the way I see it. Um, and that's about it. I know we rambled on about this subject a little bit much, so we'll probably cut this one a little bit short. I don't have anyone viewing today, as we are still growing. So we will move on, Sam. We will, let me just get rid of this title here. We'll be back next week, hopefully with a little bit more news. But I think that's all we have for today there, Sammy. Why don't you send us on your way?
Well, thanks for those of you who have joined in or will watch this video here in the future. Again, yeah, we know it's a little bit of probably a heavier topic video, but again, like my buddy there, Gene, said, it's a topic that is very prevalent right now for the National Hockey League, and it's something that we felt like we needed to address and express our opinions on. So feel free to put your opinions in the comments as well below. Why you agree with us, why you don't
Yes, we
agree with
definitely
us.
want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
All inclusive. Everyone's invited to share their thoughts. I would love to definitely hear it out, and maybe we'll even next week if anyone does leave comments, maybe some of the more prevalent ones we will acknowledge on next week's episode if you guys do happen to write in. Yeah, this was another good up. Well, had a few hiccups. Again, I'm sorting out the bugs. Sammy, next week we're gonna go a checklist. I'm gonna read out all the titles, and you tell me, oh no, it's not 1941. Gene, get that straight. So, yeah, just it frustrates me when I make those little tiny errors, but it's just like I
It's all
say.
good.
Well, it is, but it's like, you know, you got 10, 15 titles and you miss one, and you do everything else and you get it all right, and then you miss one. So, yes. Anyway, guys, I think we are done. We are out. It's a little bit of a shorter episode, about 5 minutes short. Again, Sammy and I really, really appreciate you guys watching. We would love you guys to subscribe. And going forward, we intend on getting better and better and better. I will be doing an episode of Lubed here in the next week or two. So those of you that follow that channel, I will do that regarding uh, the draft and the free agency. Sammy and myself are still debating what we're going to do for next week. So hang tight. We might actually do a live episode next week during the free agency? Yes, it's free agency. Okay, I nearly
Yep.
botched that up saying the draft or the trade deadline, which I always seem to botch up. But anyway, Sammy, I anything else to wrap up with, or are we done?
No, that's pretty much about it. I mean, there were a couple trades today, but you know,
Yeah, a couple things. And again, I tried to get my point across as best as I can. I hope that I didn't do anything to offend anyone. Uh, or that Sammy did anything to offend anyone. It is a very sensitive topic. We totally understand that. But yeah, we would love to if we have in fact uh, said something on here that could be offensive or whatnot. We would love to hear from you, and we would love to correct that next week because it is a very hot topic. It's one of those topics you kind of have to you know, tighten up your seatbelt and be careful with how you go about it because it could be very offensive, and especially that we do this live, we don't want to uh, alienate any of our fan base at all. Anyway, guys, I think I'm done rambling on about this. Sammy, always a pleasure. We will see you guys next week. Until then, have a good one and take care, guys. Uh, it's always nice to see you, and please subscribe and help build this channel. Have a good night, guys.